and I am 4-0. I said they would lose to the Niners, beat the Browns, beat the Raiders, and lose to the Texans.
You certainly got your pulse on the team.
You got it. Mark, you are 0-2, 0-3. You are 0-4. You said they would beat the Niners, beat the Browns, lose to the Raiders, and beat the Texans.
Shows you what I know.
You know nothing.
No, I'm
Steve,
2-2.
you are 2-2.
Started
Loss,
2-0.
win, loss, win.
I think we should put up Amy May's comment. I think that says a lot right there.
Amy May. What does Amy May say here? Let me see.
AS blank show. It's okay. You can say shit show because it was a shit show.
Yes, it was a shit show.
It absolutely was a shit show.
Here's what here's kind of what I saw, and I'll keep it down. I'll keep it brief, so that you can break it down in further detail, Steve.
Yeah, break it down. Break it down.
What I found to be just befuddling was
there was a lot of that.
Was that
befuddledness?
Look. I mean, look. CJ Stroud looks like he may be the real deal. It's still too early to tell.
DG.
But he does look good. Okay, so all right. But this is a first-year head coach and a first-year quarterback, a team that had the second pick in the draft, I believe, right? And so I think they went 2-15 last year, if not 3.
Yeah, they were horrible last year.
They were absolutely horrible. And I got to tell you, I mean, they just looked like they had so much more talent and energy than the Steelers.
Yep.
I mean, like, they were playing fast.
Yep.
And the Steelers just looked like they were running in mud. And it was just like, honestly, you'd be hard pressed to find a good play in the game. I remember
Najee had a few runs.
Najee had a few runs. There was maybe one play where TJ Watt had a nice stop in the backfield.
I think Calvin Austin III had a nice catch.
But I mean,
those were two things I think I can remember.
But really, you have to really stretch to find a good play in the game.
For sure.
And it was just so, like, to me, I was just like, and Steve, you were texting that Tomlin looked lost. And that's exactly.
I think I said concussed.
Okay. Well,
you did.
He really did look lost. Like, honestly, I was looking at his face, and his face just kind of, what his face said was, I got no idea how we can make this better.
That leads me to think, like, if a coach did get concussed, can they knock him out of the game? Like, can they just bring in a new head coach for the game? Like, sorry, coach, you got concussed. You look concussed. You need to go to the locker room.
You'd have to go into the blue tent for.
I think that's honestly. I think that's what they needed. And here's why I say that, because you're right. Rookie head coach. D'Amico Ryans, right? He actually looks like he's a real deal coach. And who did he pick up? He picked up a nobody from the 49ers, Bobby Slowick.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been
of the Mike Shanahan tree, Mike and Kyle Shanahan, right?
Yep.
He was with them as a quarterbacks coach. The kid knows how to put together a game. And here's what Houston did really well. And I think they stole this from the 49ers, but it works really well. The way they stopped TJ and the guy on the other end was basically they took the tight end and they would always chip TJ with the tight end. While they were doing that, the offensive tackle would spin backwards to be able to get back into a good position to then hit TJ again.
Right.
So TJ had to go through 2 people in less than 3 seconds. Not even TJ can do that. And it was brilliant. There were no pressures. And I heard a statistic today that said the Steelers, when they don't get pressure on the quarterback, are the worst defensive team in the league. So, and that makes a lot of sense because that's what happens when you have, Levi Wallace back there with, Patrick Peterson, who doesn't seem to be able to cover. The other thing that they did really well from an offensive standpoint was they ran routes that were quick and short.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why the Steelers didn't roll that up, it was just beyond me. Like, they have no faith in their cornerbacks to be able to roll it up and say, okay, if you're going to do that, we'll counter it with playing the man and we'll let you have the deep pass. That leads me to believe that they're playing scared defense. And when they're playing scared defense, which means they can't get to the quarterback, That's a big problem. Now, they didn't give up too many. Well, that's not true. Nico Collins torched them just like
He sure did.
Amari Cooper torched them, just
Right.
like Devontae Adams torched them, just
Right.
like Brandon Ayuk torched them.
Yep.
They always have a wide receiver that just absolutely torches that team. And that's the problem with the Steelers right now. It's not just on offense. And we can talk more about the offensive problems because there are many. But on defense, they're not getting it done either. And that's why yesterday was such a shit show.
So, this is something, Luke, and thanks for being here week in, week out, Luke. I want to know from all of you, your top 3 available offensive coordinators. I heard today, possibly Byron Leftwich. Let me I'm going to take Steve's stance on this because I know what he's going to say.
Luke.
It doesn't matter because they're not going to fire Canada. Mike Lawrence, we all agree Canada has to go. What about the defensive coordinator Terrell Austin? Look, guys,
Actually, on that note, they say that Mike Tomlin calls the plays.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
So if he does, then he deserves a lot of the blame for the defense.
I don't know how he can call the plays unless he's got every single friggin' play memorized.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't have a play sheet.
I know. That's complete crap. I think Tomlin okays all the plays. He has the plan in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to say a guy can't memorize something, but I'm with you on that.
Well, it's not that the defense isn't bad. I think they run schemes. I just think that they're afraid to try certain things during the game. They want to stick to the script.
Right.
And when the script isn't working, they don't have a plan B. And that's always been the problem with Tomlin. He's never been able to make adjustments at halftime. And, at one point, let's remember, it was 4th and 1. They had the ball. They could have kicked a field goal to make it a 1-score game. They could have made it 16-9, but they decided to go for it on a 4th and 1 and do it from the shotgun.
If I hear that phrase one more time today, right, exactly.
Right? That just makes no sense to me. Why they did it like that.
Right.
And the thing is, they called a timeout right before because Tomlin mentioned something in his press conference about, where they placed the ball wasn't where we thought they were going to place the ball. So we had to call timeout. And I'm thinking to myself, so does that mean you were going to kick a field goal? It didn't make any sense to me. Did he think maybe it was closer and they were just going to run up to the ball and do the quarterback sneak thing? He was not clear at all when he said that what he meant, and he's the master of saying things like that.
Well, I heard a guy today on the radio, word salad. Tomlin's just a word salad right now. Now, Amy May, our number one fan on the female side of the equation, says, what about Canada saying we aren't a team built to come from behind? You know what, Amy May? It's funny that you bring that up because that's something that has stuck in my craw, if you will, for a long time. When I heard that quote, which I think was a couple weeks ago too, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean?
Isn't the objective to score every possession on offense?
The objective is the objective is to win games.
Right.
And you are not going to win every game from the starting gate to the finish line.
Well, this
you are
team is
always going to have to come from behind. Well, not always, but there are going to be many, many games where you come from behind, whether you're down 3 points or 27 points.
Yeah.
So when you say this is a team that's not built to come from behind, honestly, what I hear is I am too stupid to be a football coach. Honest to God.
When did he say this?
That's pretty good.
This in this week or another time?
It was like I honestly I don't remember.
I don't remember when it was
I'm relying
said,
on press reports on this.
Yeah, I believe it's true.
Yeah, and Tomlin backed him up at some point. They were having a conversation where they said it's kind of like, well, what we want to do is we want to get a lead first, and then we start to expand the playbook. Then what are you talking about? What do you mean? You want to get a touchdown and then you're going to open up the playbook? I thought you were supposed to open up the playbook like back in training camp and learn it. I had to be honest with you. You said this could be their low point. And I disagreed with you. I think they can go lower because they can.
Yeah.
But you're not far off the mark. Now that I think about all of the ridiculous comments coming from management
Right.
out of this. And look,
Well-
you guys know me. I'll finish up on this one. You guys know me. I have been a Tomlin supporter.
Mhm.
I really have been. We hear this all the time. I hated Canada, and I can't say I hate the person, but I hate the way Canada calls games. I think he's a terrible offensive coordinator, whatever. I've always been kind of on Tomlin's side. Like, look, the guy's, he's good. I'm starting to doubt that now.
Well, you have to think to yourself, Tomlin was blessed with a team 1 year removed from a Super Bowl.
This is
Right.
true, right?
And he was blessed with
That was a few years ago.
and he was blessed with a Hall of Fame quarterback.
That's true.
And as the Hall of Fame quarterback
And a Hall of Fame running back.
Yeah. Well, and as the Hall of Fame quarterback
And a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Stop it. And as the Hall of Fame quarterback, that's what I'm saying, got older and older, Tomlin got worse and worse. And now that the Hall of Fame quarterback's not here, he's getting worse and worse.
But he still has a winning record.
Yeah. Now that's called
But here's-
gaslighting.
But here's the
You're
thing.
you're gaslighting yourself.
I'm setting myself on fire.
Here's the thing that just, look, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, if you ask me, all right, there isn't much of a defensive game plan outside of get to the quarterback.
That's
okay.
true.
Right.
And on the flip side of that, if you truly are,
Well, stop the run. Too.
if you truly are a great defensive mind, you should be able to look at Matt Canada's offense and say, this is a college offense.
Well, and they can. They
You
do.
know,
well,
you
they
know,
do.
you know who does that? The opposing defense.
All of them.
How many times yesterday did you hear the announcer say, it looks like they actually knew what they were going to be running in that play?
I know. I think
Right.
it's starting.
like
to get
like on
crazy.
on that screen, the so-called screen pass to Freiermuth. It's like the guy knew he was going to get the ball right when he left his block. He's like, oh, he's not blocking me. He's running out here. I know he's going to get the ball. Kenny didn't even wait. Like, you have to wait as a quarterback till that guy comes and gets you to make that work. He didn't even do it. He just threw it to Freiermuth because he was so scared of getting sacked.
and it's like, here's the thing, like, who's coaching these players to get better? I mean, like, you got Canada's up there in the booth. To me, he needs to be down
Alone.
alone. To me, he needs to be down on the field talking to Kenny Pickett after each possession, and then on the other side of it too is like, Tomlin's resistance to bringing in an offensive mind, right? I mean, it's like, and if you look around the league, the Tomlin coaching tree just doesn't exist.
I'm not sure, but I think we might have a call coming in from Florida.
Sounds good. Let's hear it.
Okay. Is this Pat on track?
Yeah, no, it's not Pat on track, but I have to. It's a technical issue here. Hello, welcome to the Sports Porch.
Dead air.
Oh,
Always
you know
good.
what? No, here it is.
Subject you
Hello.
to my goofy voice.
Yeah. No. Sorry. Is this DG?
This is DG.
DG.
Welcome to the program.
show. Welcome to the porch.
What do you got for us, DJ?
And well, first of all, I got to apologize if I put off calling because the only thing that's worse than my goofy voice is if you had to see my goofy face. So,
Yeah.
but I had to call because
We got 3 of them here.
I'm just so no. You guys are great. But, I'm just so frustrated. I've just been sitting here and Mark's last statement that I heard before I dialed in, and there's Steve gaslighting, but Mark's statement, who is coaching these players, and I'm just wondering if you guys feel the same way I do after whatever the post game bullshit session that Tomlin comes out and spews every damn time, and I'm like just so sick of it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
You want to take that one, Steve?
Yeah. What else you got, DG?
Well, another thing that you mentioned, Steve, which I agree with you. You said, guess what? They're not going to get rid of Canada, and they need to get rid of Canada. They need to demote them. You could get anybody else. It's pathetic, and you see how these other teams adjust. We never adjust to anything ever, even when it's smacking us in the face. And these teams say, hey, how do you counter these crazy rushers on the outside? They start flipping little, screen passes and things. Everybody's got plans to adjust, except for the Steelers.
Well, I can tell you're frustrated, DG. I really can.
Let me take on your questions. First is Tomlinisms in the post conference. Those also aren't going away, but I think he did say something that was instructive this time. And I think it was the first time I actually saw him get mad and not at another reporter when he said, hell yeah, we're going to make changes. I was thinking to myself, wow, that if Tomlin's saying he's going to make changes because it was that bad, I think at that point in his mind, he was thinking, I'm going to have to let this offensive coordinator go. I had never seen him go to that level before. So let's see.
I agree with you.
Let's see what happens in Baltimore this week. If they lay another turd,
they'll do it at the bye.
I think you're absolutely going to be looking at Steve Sullivan as your next offensive coordinator. Unfortunately for the Steelers, that means it's the same playbook because they're not going to bring in Byron Leftwich in the middle of the season and institute a new offense. That never happens in the NFL. And it never happens with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But that doesn't mean that next season some big changes will need to be made in the offensive coordinator position.
Well, yeah, and we already know that. But what I think is interesting, DG, is that the one thing that Mark has said that spurred you to call, who's coaching these guys. I've been wondering that this entire season. I've been wondering that because everything is so pedestrian.
Well, and everybody's regressing. Everybody's getting worse. Kenny Pickett's getting worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why any. Now, DG, one question for you.
Yeah.
Last year, when Kenny Pickett got thrust into the spotlight, and then you fast forward to the end of the end of last year, did you really think that he made? And I was a huge Kenny Pickett fan, but did you think
I know where you're going?
Did you think he made any true progress? I mean, all they sing is.
I think he did.
He did.
I think he did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he did because I'm kind of an advocate for these young guys. I feel bad because it's a brutal sport, brutal game, and you come in. I'm a Mason Rudolph fan, whether people like him or not.
Well,
actually, I actually like Mason too. I would put Mason in this week instead of Trubisky.
Yeah,
you might see him both.
The thing is, I don't think that Ben Roethlisberger did any great favors for Rudolph as far as bringing him along.
That's true. No, he was a total punk.
Some aren't. And so then you get thrust in there, and it's a brutal sport. If you don't get the wins, you suck and you're out. And I feel bad for these guys. They're 20-some-year-old kids, and they're told, hey, nice try, take a hike. And the thing is, look at Geno Smith. Okay, I'm just saying some of these guys might not be as bad as everybody says. Some of them might be, but they're just quick to yank them, And
that's
so
true. Geno Smith has DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and usually a very good running game and a good offensive line and a good head coach.
An offensive-minded head coach.
Yeah.
Right.
So
an offensive-minded head coach, but he was resurrected from the trash heap.
Yep.
Because really, if you ask many people, they would say, yeah, Geno Smith would not be the way to go.
But there definitely is some credence to the head coaching scheme for the offense. Because if you look at the 49ers last year, when they had Garoppolo was great with them till he got hurt. And then now look at Garoppolo with Vegas. He's terrible. I mean, he's hurt now, but he's awful. So the schemes that the offensive coordinator and the head coach put together really make the offense what it is. And I keep saying this Steelers team is not predicated on offense. It's all predicated on defense. And when the defense has a terrible game like it did last Sunday, that the offense has no chance in hell of being able to keep up with a team that can be 2 scores ahead of them. And Canada said it. Tomlin said, we're going to make changes. I don't believe that means he's going to go into some sort of offensive juggernaut mode, because they just don't have it in their playbook. And this is who the Steelers have been since Ben Roethlisberger left.
Well, and here's the problem is that I feel like what you're talking about, Steve, is that, you know, the NFL has sort of passed the Steelers by.
Oh yeah.
You know, they've passed Tomlin by. I mean, he's
3 years
he's
ago.
talking about 3 yards in a cloud of dust and, running the ball and winning with defense. Hey, it's shootouts now. You know, you watch the last couple Super Bowls, they're like 45-40.
Yeah.
You know, it's shootouts. I mean, it's amazing if you can play good defense these days. You know, I mean, you got to be able to throw the ball, and he's approaching it in such a way that you would have to have such a good team to win that way. It's almost impossible.
Well, and the Steelers also are, and this is not an excuse, but they are missing Deontay Johnson. I mean, you need to, if you're gonna come from behind, you definitely need 3 wide receivers to be able to do that with.
Yeah.
So I think that's not helpful. It's definitely not the problem, but all these little things add up to what happened yesterday in the game. And I unfortunately am kind of thinking that if the Steelers can somehow pull out a miracle win against Baltimore this week, everybody's going to be like, we're still okay.
Nah, but we're not.
But we're 2-0. We're 2-0 in the division. We're only one game behind Baltimore, and everybody's going to be just fine with that.
Listen, DG, from the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank you for being such an incredible fan. We love interacting with you.
Yeah, and your voice is not terrible.
It's kind of weird, but like I said, it's better than my goofy face.
Great call.
You guys are gonna see that one of these days, and I'm gonna pop by to get my man in the middle mug signed.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that would be great.
We got a Sharpie ready for
awesome.
you, DG.
So,
Hey,
guys,
one last final thing.
Yep.
One last final thing. Tomlin used to be a defensive back coach.
Mhm.
You know, we need coaching, not just overall coach. We need coaching at all these positions too. Offensive line, Munchak left. We got no decent offensive line. It's just nothing. I'm frustrated. So have a good show. Rest of the show. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
DG.
David.
Really
Thanks for the
appreciate
call. David brings up a great point about the coaching.
Mhm.
The Steelers have notoriously have been the team with the least amount of coaching and the least amount of payroll in coaching.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just means that, Tomlin is even more in charge of things when it comes to that.
So we had a bunch of comments coming in here while we were talking with DG. Luke, as the phone was ringing, because I hadn't straightened out the board yet, said, "Is that Tomlin calling?" I'd love for him to call in the show. Yeah.
We put him on hold for David.
Yeah, he's still on hold.
Yeah, we got him on hold.
Jeff says, "When will Tomlin be held accountable? Do the Roonies even care anymore?"
There's a lot to unpack
Luke
there.
says, "Try anything at this point." Eric Olson says pass protection. Amy says, "I'm worried because Pickett can't see open players." Luke was talking about the shootouts you were talking about. It's Top Gun. He also mentioned that a few teams admitted knowing what was coming. And Amy May, she's kind of upset with her husband because she says Mark is stealing my comments.
No, we just think alike.
You're married. His comments are your comments. You are one body.
Guys, I got a question for you guys.
All right.
So at this point in the game, Kenny Pickett, the guy, not the guy, or to be determined?
Not the guy.
At this point, to be determined.
Not the guy.
I've finally moved into not the guy.
Not the guy.
Here's why I say not. You're saying not the guy because you're comparing him to C.J. Stroud.
I'm just saying. Is he a serviceable NFL quarterback for a winning team for the next 7 to 10 years?
No.
And I say no.
Well, I mean, 7 to 10 years is way too long. Most quarterbacks don't last but 3 to 5 years.
Okay,
right?
Schwab, 4 years.
3 to
split
5
the
years.
4
No.
years. No. Yeah,
No.
still a no for
and,
me.
and here's why I'm saying to be determined. One, Kenny Pickett is not a great talent. He wasn't in college. He had one good year.
True.
But he got better. So the only reason I say to be determined is because, Eric brought up pass protection. I think he does have pass protection. He's just not comfortable in that pocket yet.
Right.
Once he gets comfortable in the pocket and he can go, so like CJ Stroud went through his progressions like this: 1, 2, 3, throw. Right. Kenny Pickett goes 1. Oh shit, this guy's going to hit me.
Right.
Oh damn, I got to get out of this pocket. Fuck, I got to throw it away.
Yeah,
Boom.
yep.
Or he gets sacked. And that's what he's got to fix. If he can't fix it, he'll be out of the league next year.
Right.
Because you either fix that or you don't.
Okay, so that's that whole.
So the question is, do you believe he'll fix it?
I think he will if he can get the right plays that allows him to feel comfortable in the pocket and to allow him to roll out every now and then and do that roll pass.
Yeah.
They do that roll pass and it works out well. I think they just need to mix it up a little bit. And maybe they have the plays, and I don't think they're being called properly. And that's why I think Canada does have to go.
Yeah.
And I think if they lose to Baltimore, I think you'll see that happen in the bye week. And you'll see Steve Sullivan come up, and then you just let him play out the rest of the year. If he can call better plays for Kenny to feel more comfortable, I think you'll see the offense be good enough, because whether you like it or not, Tomlin is somewhat correct in saying the Steelers defense is better than most other defenses, and they don't have to score 35 points. But if they can at least get to 24 or 28 on a consistent basis, I think they can win more games. And that's why I say to be determined, because I do still have a little bit of faith that this team can put it together. And honestly, if they beat Baltimore next week, they're still in a pretty good position, because look at what Cincinnati Bungles are doing.
In a bad
they
division.
suck.
In a
They've
bad
already
division.
beat the Browns, and the Browns have already lost their quarterback for a little while. Who knows how long?
Yeah.
So that leaves them in the Ravens, and they will have a game up on the Ravens already.
Well,
I know that sounds way too optimistic, and I get your angst about their offense. I feel the same way. But the sad thing is they probably get better if they lose to Baltimore, but have less of a chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah,
but in the long run, I think it's better for the team for the year.
That leads into my final Steelers question for the week. What do you think is the better outcome for this season? Steelers go 9-8, just barely miss the playoffs.
That would be horrible.
Steelers finish 4-13 and get a top 7 pick.
That would be horrible. I don't like either of those choices.
I think 4-13 is the way to go. They need to hit rock bottom to start over and potentially get a new quarterback.
Well, the Steelers aren't going to go 4-13, so you're going to have to pick another one.
Honestly, I am not convinced of that.
7-10. You could say 7-10.
Listen, I am not convinced of that now at this point, because I think that the team itself has completely lost its identity.
Nope, that's absolutely false.
Yeah. Oh, God, he's such a homer.
I'll tell you why it's false. The
homer.
defense is still good enough.
Well,
the defense is still good enough.
I think that defense is.
They are.
I think that defense, honestly, seriously, I'm being serious.
Mm-hmm.
I think that defense is terrible.
I think this is what I think.
I think their secondary is horrible. I think their
once they put
linebackers
Joey
are
Porter Jr.
mediocre,
back there,
but they're not going to do that.
they will. That will be one of the changes that he makes.
But here's the thing.
And that'll be immediate. You'll see that in the Baltimore game.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
He's looked pretty good so far, but we don't know. He's barely played.
Right. We don't know
You
about
know,
Christian Gonzalez
but
from New
here's-
England, but he's
here's-
out there.
But
He's
here's
injured.
the
He's
thing.
injured.
Honestly,
but he was playing.
Yeah.
here's the thing. I look at the Steelers defense and I say they've got a great defensive line. Linebackers and secondary outside of Minka Fitzpatrick, very pedestrian. So if the Steelers don't get a pass rush, they're a bad defense.
That's exactly right. That's what I'm saying.
So
it's not a
But
well-rounded
they
defense.
do get a
It's
pass.
not
They
good
do
in
get a
la-
pass
it's not
rush most games.
Yeah, but it's not. They're not good in layers. I think they lack talent.
the only teams they lose to are the quarterbacks who can quickly make decisions.
So
well.
far.
And that's how you beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Lamar Jackson's going to try and run against them. That's not going to work. And that way they'll be in the game probably for most of the game.
Well,
that's the difference. That's the difference
Well,
with the Steelers. That's why I have a little bit of faith that they can get it together, because there aren't a lot of quarterbacks out there that can do that. CJ Stroud, it clearly is a better talent than everybody has given him credit for. This kid could be the next Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. He impressed me.
And he's got a good coaching staff that's letting him grow quickly.
Now, Deborah says talking over each other is rude. Now, Deborah, you don't know us very well, do you?
Deborah,
You don't know each other very well. Okay, so I am not sold on this anymore. I don't think Najee is
Wow,
the
Jeff
guy.
agrees with me.
I got to put this up.
Whoa.
My buddy from York, Jeff Paulus, can't
Wow.
believe this, but I agree with Steve. They aren't going to panic. You know what? Jeff's just doing that because he doesn't want to agree with me.
Well,
you know?
he's a smart man.
I mean, come on, a couple Yorkers together. You can agree with me. Never mind, Jeff. DG says Tomlin certainly doesn't deserve another winning season. Only reinforce the status quo.
I agree with David on that one, 100%.
And we got to get to our picks here, and then
yeah.
then we have Hockey Jesus in the house because the Penn
Hockey
season is
Jesus.
right around the corner.
8 days away.
And we can talk about this until
Kenny
the
Pickett
birds.
moment away.
Some final words on this week. Okay, I think this week the Steelers were finally on a national level, on a local level, on every possible level. They were finally exposed, and it's not that like we didn't know that in Pittsburgh.
Right.
I mean, the Fire Canada screams from the stands
Still does.
Right. So, but my concern, Steve, is that your take on the Steelers organization and how they do things
Is
is not going to change. Which, if that's the case, even if they lay a huge egg next week, would mean, in your example, that Canada is going to stick around. Tomlin is a loyalist.
Mhm.
We could see Canada stick around to the end of this year. Now, given what's happened,
Not if they lose to Baltimore.
I would think
Not
that
if they
should
lose
be
to Baltimore.
highly unlikely. Even so,
If they get embarrassed by Baltimore, there'll be changes there.
even so, I do not think that this year is a year. This is the year where the Steelers are finally going to fall out of the shadow of Ben Roethlisberger, and they're going to realize that while Ben Roethlisberger, from a personality standpoint in this city, was not always appreciated, from a skill level standpoint on the football field, look.
He was a winner.
You're not going to find the next Ben Roethlisberger, and if you don't,
we didn't with Pickett. That's
well,
for
of
sure.
course you did, or Trubisky, which they talked about, and this
Trubisky was always the Mark Malone.
but this exposes the Tomlin defensive mindset. The guy's a defensive mind. He can't evaluate offensive players. Now you can.
I agree.
Well, they got
100% agree with
Antonio Brown. They got what's his face, Le'Veon Bell. Well, what happened to Le'Veon Bell after he left the Steelers? He sucked. And what happened to AB? Whatever. So the point is that I think they are in for a few years of, dare I say, futility, because the NFL is a hard place to win, even if you do think they script the plays to help out FanDuel. So I mean,
agree with you.
right.
I agree with you 100%. The futility will only end after Tomlin gets retired and replaced.
Gets retired. I love that. So I now Jeff says if they fired Canada next year, bring in, say, Jason Garrett, do you think Tomlin could coexist? No,
he won't bring in Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett is a cowboy, and he only wants to do cowboy things, which is like hang out with really hot chicks on the Fox News
Wow. Okay.
On the Fox News
I'm gonna
channel or
Google that
whatever.
one
You know what
later.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about. You know what I'm saying.
All right, let's get to
yeah.
the
You know
picks.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's get to the picks.
Yeah. Is it that one right there? No,
Slap
that's Slap
me
Me Silly.
silly.
Yeah, I think it was this one right there.
That's what I like that kind of
sorry.
party.
It's a whole bunch of Mark Schwabs around. A whole bunch of Mark Schwabs.
Let's get to the picks. I'm
All
with
right.
Mark.
Okay.
Let's do them quick.
All right. So last week,
Leave your picks in the comments.
Yeah. Last week. I had the that's the wrong one. Last week I had the Lions. Mark and Chris had the Lions. Steve had the Packers. We all had the Chiefs, which we almost all lost.
But we all won.
And Mark and Steve had the Bills, and I had the Dolphins. Currently, our record stands at, I do have it up on the ticker
We're
here.
all pretty close.
I don't know why it didn't change itself.
It likes your telephone.
Mark is 6-3. Steve is 5-4, and I am.
You got your first win.
No. I'm 4-5. 4 and
Starting to round out like last
5.
year.
All right.
Yeah. So
It's
this
early.
No, I believe I was on the bottom for a while.
You were.
Yeah.
actually.
This week, the first game we are picking is the Cowboys at the Niners. Back to the 90s, fellas. Back
At
to
the 90s. At the
think
Niners, huh?
I think it's Cowboys at the Niners. Yeah.
Mm.
Cowboys at Niners.
The girls at the Whiners.
Yeah. Typical.
Mark's calling for a tie here. I know it. He hates both
should,
these teams.
Should
with
I
a
start
passion.
us out? I
Go
do.
for it.
I
Go
do
ahead.
hate both these teams with a passion, but I'm gonna go Purd Turd.
Bird turd.
I'm gonna go Niners. I think they will win and remain undefeated.
I got the boys in an upset.
All right. And I'm going with Hall of Fame. The Niners.
Hasn't lost yet.
He has not. Really
I know.
amazing.
It's
like
crazy.
betting against Brady.
I
part
told you how
two.
good he was. I told you how good he was. All right.
I'm
The
glad
next
I
game,
traded him.
I'm finally going to get a chance to watch a full game for my former favorite team,
The Redskins.
the Bears at the Redskins / Commanders.
Don't say that's a bad word.
This is what is this? The
It's been
Sunday night
banned.
game? No,
Thursday night.
that's
It's the Thursday night game.
Yeah,
Bears
that's
at Commando.
right. Robert, who you got? Didn't the Bears just win?
No, they lost.
No, they were winning 28-3.
Oh, yeah,
they
they
lost.
lost.
They
Yeah.
lost.
20
Yeah.
29, 28.
I'm gonna go Commanders.
Yeah, I can't pick the Bears
How
for
can you
anything.
pick the Bears? I mean, that's
Got to go
crazy.
with that team from Washington.
And I got to go with Sam Howell. I like the way the kid plays. He's
Yeah.
got he's got grit, no doubt. So we're all going with the Commanders.
Should have went for 2 against the Eagles.
All right, here is the must-win game of Kirk Cousins' career. Chiefs at the Vikings. Listen, man.
Chiefs at the Vikings.
I know, and if the Vikings lose this game,
Well, you
boy.
know what that means? That means the Jets finally get their quarterback. That's all that means.
They get Kirk Cousins.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's wherever what have I been saying?
And you know what happened?
If that guy is smart, he will stay as far away from New York as he possibly can.
He doesn't want to go. He's a
No,
family
he
guy.
is a family.
He wants to stay in Minnesota.
Yeah. So who's going to win? Chiefs, Vikings.
They have better hockey there.
Absolute must win for the Vikings. Absolute must win.
Yep, must win for the Vikings.
I'll go Chiefs.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I'm going with my boy Kirk Cousins.
I think it's going to be a shootout, though.
They have no defense in Minnesota.
I think it's going to be like a 35-31 game.
But I got to tell you, I know that the Jets defense is actually surprisingly fast and pretty
No,
good.
they're good.
No, they're good.
They're
They're
just
good.
young,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
still make some mistakes.
But Pat Mahomes in that game made some errors that even good defenses, like it was almost like he wasn't really thinking.
Wait,
Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, the Chiefs. I mean, look, the Chiefs are kind of very similar to the Eagles in that they're 3-1, but they've been underwhelming.
is this where we get to the talk about Taylor Swift that I've been waiting for so long?
Good Lord. One more comment
forgot
from
about
DG.
that.
Mark's Eagles almost choked against TD's Commanders this past week. Commanders win this week. Thank you, DG. All right, fine. You want to talk about Taylor Swift?
We have to talk about the Swift
Good
effect because
Lord.
it's clearly affecting the
Swiftie.
Kansas City Chiefs as a team.
You mean in a bad way?
Yes, in a bad way. Mm-hmm.
But all these little girls are going out getting Kelce jerseys. How can that be a bad
hey,
thing?
by the way, if you do have any Travis Kelce like cards or anything, put them on eBay now. They're gone like wildfire. Like you're not gonna get a higher value. And I'm saying this because the Swifty talk will all be over in a couple weeks, and here's why. Okay, are you ready?
I'm
ready.
ready.
You ready?
I'm ready, Swifty.
Okay, get out your notebook because this is what has happened. Taylor Swift about 4 weeks ago finished her concert in the North America because she went down to Mexico for a while, right?
Right.
And instead of taking 8 weeks off like most of us would do and just put our feet up and just be like, I'm going to be going over to Europe. I'm going over to Rome in 2 months.
You're talking if we were worth like $800 million.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I don't know if like a guy that works at a gas station says, I'm going to take 8 weeks off and go to Europe.
Well,
you know,
she's in between gigs, you know.
Right.
She's got a big movie coming out, by the way. Everybody should go see the Eras tour at their local movie
Even
theater.
if they've seen the Eras tour at their local
this will be much better.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Mark's going with Amy. I know they're going.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
I'm going to drag my wife kicking and screaming to that.
Oh, absolutely. You have to.
No.
If you need a vest, I got a vest you can wear.
I'd rather be burned.
Does it have straps?
No, you'll have to use your own straps. I'm sure you have some up in the bedroom somewhere.
Okay, you're hilarious.
So what's the bottom line?
The
here?
bottom
Swift
line-
going out
the
on
bottom
tour
line
again,
is-
it's over.
What she figured out was she's got to bring more people in to watch her movie. And that's what she's doing. She basically looked and said, hey, Travis Kelce's a meathead. 1, I can easily dupe him into thinking that I like him. 2, 3, I can go to every football game. I can get my face planted there and I can be a national icon to a bunch of people who don't know me. Because let's face it, most people, meatheads that are watching NFL football, have no care in the world for Taylor Swift unless she's dating a tight end, the best tight end who just won the Super Bowl for Kansas City. She was like, yeah, I'll use him. So that's what she's doing. She's using him probably for this weekend and next weekend. Then guess what? She's flying off to Rome. She's got her international tour there. This will all be behind us in 2 weeks. You won't have to hear anything about Taylor Swift until maybe the Super Bowl, because I think her tour is over somewhere around when the Super Bowl ends. So
you don't think this has nothing to do with love for her?
It's absolute brilliant marketing on her. Dude, think about all the free marketing she's gotten from the NFL, the single biggest marketing.
So are you saying that she's pulling one over on Donna Kelce as well?
No, she's pulling one over on the whole Kelce family, the whole NFL
and
league,
the world,
and all the media that goes with it. She's just duping them, and it's brilliant marketing.
I thought you thought that Taylor Swift was a nice person.
She is. No, she's a very smart business person. Think how many more millions, hundreds of millions of dollars she's going to get from her movie royalties, because there are going to be that many more people going to see the movie.
Well,
because she's been relevant these last 2 weeks, not just because of the tour, because all the Swifties, including myself, will be going to see this in the movie theater. Now she's going to get everybody else who kind of heard about her through Travis Kelce, and they're going to go now too. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
I'm with you 100. I'm with you 100%. And I think I don't think though that she's.
I'm not with you.
I think the Kelces are in on it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think you're right. I think you're probably right.
No, I think that he really likes her. I think she might even like him too. So it's love, guys.
You both
love wins.
You both make brilliant points. It could turn out to be a mad love affair. We don't know what's actually happening behind doors.
Yeah,
and that's what makes this show great.
I don't find someone.
I don't find Taylor.
Both been looking for.
I don't find Taylor Swift that attractive.
I don't find her attractive either. She looks like a little girl.
Yeah,
she reminds me of like my sister. Like I would like to have her around and have some of her money. But, to date her, to be in love with her, she just no.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
But no, she's a brilliant businesswoman, and this is what it is. And you heard it here first. Tell all your friends you heard it at the Sports Porch.
It's a business. At the Sports Porch.
It's not.
You might be right
personal,
about both of
business.
them being in on it. It's possible.
Yeah.
I believe in love.
I think he looks at her and be like, "Wow, if I can get some of those hundreds of millions."
I believe in love, and I believe in Kelce and Swift.
There you go.
That's nice, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should go see the movie.
You know what's really funny is that as they what is TJ saying?
I think David's a little bit of a fan.
and
Oh,
I'm not
Wendy
sure she would
Cody
want-
in the house. What's going on, sis?
Wendy, you're probably right. I'm sure she wouldn't want to
Nah,
date
listen,
any of us.
Wendy,
But
I wouldn't date Taylor Swift. Amy May is
Yeah,
my lady.
Wendy, there's
Back
only
off, Swift.
Wendy, there's only one person in this room has actually met Taylor Swift, and let me tell you, it's not the two chumps beside me.
that's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You mean
but-
above you?
yeah.
Very good, Mark.
Oh my God. Mike says she goes through men like babies
Yeah,
go through
Mike's not
diapers.
wrong there.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
So yeah, that's the Swifty effect.
I think you know what? And I think you're right, Steve. And that's where we're going to end it because I am sick and tired.
I'm
of
rooting
hearing
for
about
I am
this.
sick of Taylor Swift. Too.
It'll be
Get her
over in a
off the
couple weeks.
screen.
Yeah,
Couple weeks, it's
please,
over.
Get rid of the whole.
My
She's
God.
gonna be at Rome at the end of the month. She's got plenty of concerts to do. She'll be out of this spotlight.
And these broadcasters like Tarico last night,
Right.
is like
free publicity, dude.
everything out of his mouth was a Taylor Swift song. Like he was putting sentences together with
Yep.
the title of the Taylor Swift. I didn't even know. Honestly, I wasn't paying attention, and after a while, I was like, "What's wrong with Mike Tiriso? Did he have a stroke?" And then somebody said Taylor Swift. And I'm like, "Oh my God, he's put. Come on, please,
Yeah.
can we stop
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Free publicity,
Honest
man. I'm
enough.
telling you, brilliant.
Like we need it.
Enough.
Okay,
The rich get richer.
that's and dare I say that's how it should be. Yeah.
Come on, let's get
Yeah,
to some
it's a
hockey. Come
podcast.
on, we got a
Okay.
little bit of time left.
Listen, hockey is right around the corner.
8
Right
days.
around the corner, and Steve is literally shaking and sweating with excitement. He's put together about 500 different spreadsheets.
3.
Hockey Jesus.
And Hockey Jesus will be preaching on the podcast after every single Penguins game this year.
Also known as Hockey Jesus.
You can
on
hear
our
in-
Deportes channel.
And you can hear him on the iHeartRadio
It's
app,
true.
Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. I'm gonna have to change that because I'm gonna have to get a Penguins accent. What
You gotta
how does a Penguins
Sound like a Russian, like Gino Malkin.
I'm gonna work on that. I don't want to embarrass
we got to work on the
That
podcast.
That sounds
I don't
awful.
know.
Yes.
That sounds awful.
I must break you.
Yes, there you go.
Hey guys,
I would break
breaking news.
theaters.
I've decided that this Wednesday is when the Spectacular is coming out for
Awesome.
hockey.
Oh, spectacular. Everybody look
Awesome.
out Wednesday.
Awesome.
It's gonna drop
have a
Wednesday?
little whiskey before you do that, a little bourbon.
No, I had enough
Yeah.
Saturday
Did
for
you?
a while.
After
Yeah.
we left. Yeah, I knew that fire went on for a while.
No, actually,
Was Scott there?
no, it was probably only going for about another hour, and I actually did not pour myself another drink after you. left.
I told my wife on the way home, I said, there is a better than 50-50 shot that whole Chiefs conversation ends up happening. But obviously it didn't. Okay, Hockey Jesus, lay it on us.
Okay, so everybody knows hockey season's above us, right around the corner.
It is above us.
Mhm.
It's coming down from the heavens,
Right.
just like we love it. And the Penguins have a brand new team this year. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no other way to put it. The top 6 are intact. So basically, this year's team is going to be made of top 6 guys and bottom 6 guys. And really, to me, I think there are 4 keys for the Penguins this year. 1, they got to have health from their top 6. 2, Sully's got to figure out if his 30-year-old guys can skate with 20-year-old guys. That one, I think, is probably the biggest problem that he's got to
Yeah.
overcome.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, can we drink with, well, you don't drink anymore. Can we drink with 20-some-year-olds? No.
No.
Can we skate with 20-some-year-olds? Hell no.
Well, I can't skate. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, yeah. So,
I can inline skate.
and rap at the
I'd-
same time,
I'd
right,
like to
Mark?
see that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's probably his biggest
Oh,
problem.
I like that kind of party.
And then the third one, they got to find a surprise guy. You know, the shiny toy right now is this Radim Zahorna, and he may not even make the team. Everybody likes, O'Connor. They think maybe he's the guy. They got to find somebody in the bottom 6 who's going to score like 18 to 25 goals. It could be Lars Eller, but chances aren't very good. He's the centerman on the third line. It could be this Achari. He might be the guy, but he's going to have to play third line minutes on the fourth line in order to do that. And then fourth, everybody knows it's about the goalie. If Jari's not the guy, they did go out and get a couple other guys. Needle Nose Ned and Magnus, your buddy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that name. And I love that he's huge.
He's huge.
I say screw Jari. Put this big guy in. He's as big as the whole net.
Just have him sit in
come
front
on.
of
He
the
doesn't
net.
even have to move. They got to thread the needle on every single shot.
Like that Geico commercial.
Yeah. What is that guy? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It was from like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age a little bit.
Yeah.
So the goalie, they're going to have to figure out a rotation, I think. Maybe Jari's going to be the guy. They said, whatever hip problem that he had last year, chronic hip problem, is suddenly gone away. So
until it comes back.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be probably the last thing that you're going to have to look for. So I think, if they can address those 4 things, look, you should be excited about this Penguin team this year. They're way different with Carlson. Oh my God. I've only watched 2 games so far, and Carlson only played in one of them. Dude, he plays like a forward. Like, he doesn't even think about not going to the net. When the puck is going down the ice, he's skating down the ice. He is not stopping at the blue line. He's going right for the net every time. So Graves is going to have to figure out how to play with him. He's their new defenseman that they got from New Jersey. So once they figure that out, I think they'll be okay, but it could be a bumpy start. It really could. The good news is Gensel looks like he's ahead of schedule. They said he's probably going to miss 5 games. They're talking about maybe he might even be ready for the home opener. I doubt it. I'm sure he wants to play.
I say give him a rest, man.
He's skating already, and they said he's feeling really good. It's about the feel, when it comes down to it.
But I also know
it's not like it's a broken bone.
In professional sports in general, they like to rush people back for obvious reasons. And, when you got a guy like Gensel and it's a sport like hockey and it's the injury he has.
And it's a long season.
Let him be healthy. That's my take on it.
I agree with you. Yeah. And I would rather see somebody up in that top 6, because let's face it, that top 6 isn't going to be healthy all year. Right. Somebody's going to miss some games.
I mean, they got lucky last year.
What's the outlook this year for Will Butcher?
Who the hell is Will Butcher?
He's definitely not going to start with the team. So that means he'll end up in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton.
Okay.
Depending on injuries. I mean, they let Ty Smith go. He was the experiment with Marino. So he's actually probably moved up the notch and moved up a couple notches because of that. He's still a work in progress. I don't think you'll see him this year, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Unless, let's see, both POJ and Letang or Peterson go down for a significant period of time, then maybe you'll see him.
So we're not going to be able to use him as like an update.
No, you're not going to be able to use him. Magnus would be a great guy, but he's probably only going to get spot starts.
Juna Koppanen?
No,
I knew that's what he was looking for.
Yeah, he's looking for a guy.
Did they open up the La Hornets nest?
How about Vinny Hinostroza?
Hinostroza could be, yeah. So Hinostroza's right now plugged in the first line with Sid until Gensel comes back. So
Hinostroza update.
It could be Vinny. It could be Vinny. Yeah,
I love it.
Vincenzo.
My concern this year with them is pretty much what you said yours was. Last year, they had problems because of their, I use the phrase loosely, but because of their age.
Mm-hmm.
And they
got older.
There's not, And so this year, it's kind of like, can they skate with these younger teams? They still have the talent, but,
I'm more concerned about injuries.
Yeah, of course. But with the addition of Carlson now, okay, so you're going to have your scoring should get a nice little bump there because you got a guy who's a defenseman who really is an offenseman.
Well, right.
For lack of a better term.
He's an offensive defenseman.
Yeah. Well, he's actually not even the defenseman. He's just pure offense. And what he's really great at is on the power play. He's a guy who can distribute the puck like super quick.
Yeah.
So if they're really going to have, I'm giving a little bit away for Wednesday's night, but they're going to have a top 5 power play in order to survive some of the other 5-on-5 play. It's going to be a debacle.
First game, Chicago, right?
Chicago. Yep. Homer
at home.
Connor Bedard.
Are you
first
going?
game?
Are you going?
I got tickets. Yep.
So we're gonna have a hockey Jesus report from
live.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Live.
All right.
From the igloo.
Listen, I just want to remind everybody that starting on what is it, Friday, right?
Friday.
Yeah, is that the game? When's the game?
The
Friday?
game is Tuesday.
Oh, next Tuesday.
Next
I was going to
Tuesday.
say Friday's the day I get my colonoscopy.
Oh, well, you love that day. That's like your most favorite day of the
Oh,
There's
year.
a
let
lot
me
of
tell
those
you-
going around these days.
I know there it is, but let me tell you, man. Look, first of all, for your health, if you're over 50,
Do it.
get a colonoscopy. Second,
Oh, wait. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, too, for you girls out there.
Yep.
Check them out.
that's exactly
Get that
right.
mammogram.
I agree.
That's how
We've
my
all
wife
had that
caught hers.
experience.
early.
We
Yep.
push healthy
Absolutely.
living here.
It's serious.
Absolutely. But back to the colonoscopy. Let me tell you, the stuff they give you to knock you out for the colonoscopy, if you appreciate that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, that's the kind of
Bam,
stuff
you're
I could
out.
get behind for
Bam,
all of us.
you are out.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys, listen, Hockey Jesus will be preaching starting Tuesday night after every Penguins game.
I'm
Loved it
back,
last
baby.
year.
Let's
Can't wait.
go.
This Wednesday, so 2 days from now, we're going to have a Hockey Jesus. I don't think we're going to do it live on Facebook. You're just going to do the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this
Podcast.
Wednesday, just keep an eye on social media because we'll let you know when the podcast drops. And
We'll let you know.
a few teams admitted knowing what was coming. I don't know what I'm looking at here. There were I always like to get these comments in. Have a good week, everyone. From Jeff, bottoms up, Chris. Good luck.
Nah.
So thanks, guys, for watching. As always, we appreciate you watching on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and what's the other one? YouTube. That's right. Thanks for another
YouTube.
informative and entertaining show. You're welcome, DG. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks for calling in.
Really
Great
appreciate
call.
it. Visit us at theporcheslive.com,
We did it, boys.
theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com.
Ah, there we go.
Let's go.
Here we go.
It's called timing. It's called
Ravens
timing.
coming into town.
We gotta
Steve's
beat those
feeling
birds.
good.
I'm not feeling good, but
Thank you for listening
Never
to
know.
the Sports Porch podcast. We're going to drop the podcast right after the show. You can find it on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. And I promise therell be a Pirates Report update this week. Don't worry about it, because I got a lot of shit to say. I'm telling you right now, I got a lot of shit to say. All right, guys, I am your technical director, and I am out.